because I know she was busy painting stones. So the name of a child be on a stone, and then on the other side you can paint, you can say peace, you know, you can write something. And then there'll be a lottery, so everybody who participates will just put your name and phone number in a bowl or whatever we have. And then we're hoping to, Janet Marvin is hoping to get she will get a tour of the Garden of Hope, which is a Holocaust Garden of Hope in Kingwood, Texas. And that's where we'll deliver the stones. So if you participated and there's room on the bus and you win the lottery, then we'll all go to the Garden of Hope in Kingwood. Thank you.
Oh, we're moving forward here. All right, today we're going to talk about fiber art. I know that's a term that a lot of you have never heard before. So let's begin with a very simple definition of fiber art. It's the process of creating one-of-a-kind piece of art with fiber. That's pretty broad.
Is it working?
Yes.
Yes. It's working. Good. So that's a pretty broad definition. We want to get down to a little more information here. So you can create a one-of-a-kind piece of art by crocheting, knitting, felting, weaving, basket making, on and on it goes. All of these can be used to create a one-of-a-kind piece of art. So let's go ahead and see some of the things that I've made and a little bit about how it's done. You have to forgive my voice here. Okay, this is a top that I made from silk charmeuse and silk chiffon. Both of those pieces of silk were white, solid white, when I began. I dyed them with MX dyes, MX reactive dyes, kiwi and blue green, and I used what is called a shibori, well, several shibori techniques to create the patterning that you see. Those techniques, their function is to resist the dye, not let the dye get into part of the fabric so that you get the white remaining. Here's a detail of the sleeve. That was actually painted, not dipped into a water bath. So the dyes that I mentioned, these are called MX dyes, and they're what we refer to as fiber reactive dyes. They actually, when they come in contact with the fabric, they actually become the fabric. Nothing sits on top of the fabric with the MX dyes. They're very vibrant colors, which is what I love about them. And they're wash fast and light fast as well, which is important. Now let's talk a little bit more about shibori. Shibori is a Japanese word, and it's all-inclusive. All the things that you do to resist fabric are called shibori, the Japanese methods. They're all called shibori. Right.
I decided to stop.
Oh, it wasn't. Oh, come on.
Okay. I have to get the key again.
Oh. Waiting on the package. Anyway, while we're waiting, I'll tell you a little bit about what I'm wearing. This is a silk crepe. And the way I dyed it, it was white when I started. And I pinched this into a square. And then I wrapped it with string and dyed it. So wherever the string was, remained white. And then when you make these, you've got this great big one and another big one, and when you crunch them together, that's where the big pieces of black will come from. Because the die, it's right there, so the die is able to grab hold of it. All right, we're back in business, okay. So, Shibori. There are lots of different techniques that fall under the word Shibori. I use a lot of clamping, folding, tying. I also use the rubber bands. I just showed you one that can be used with rubber bands. See, scrunch. This is scrunch. There's probably close to half a yard of fabric in here. So that when you scrunch it like that and introduce it to the die, all of the dye is not going to reach. So it'll be sort of a model type of pattern. That's scrunch. And pole wrap. This is an example of pole wrap. I use a PVC pipe, and I've had big PVC pipes to do this with. This is probably the smallest I've had. And you wrap the fabric around it, and then wrap the string around it, and introduce it to the dye, and wherever the string is, it will stay white. Okay, this is what I'm talking about here. And when you get that white and the black in this example, you can over dye that. You can introduce another dye. You know, you take it all out of that little cup and you see what you've got and you say, oh, I'd rather have some red in there. So you just do another dye bath and you've got the red. Now again, pole wrap. This slide is a little confusing because I'm showing you how I wrap it in white and it ends up black and red. But if you imagine the pole wrap slide to be red, that's what I started with. I started with a red silk scarf and I tied it up on the pole, and then I introduced it to the black dye, put it into a dye bag. And here are some other examples. These are all up on the table for you to come and look at afterwards. On this slide, I've been folding. You do accordion folds, and then you do it one way, and then you do it the other way. And you can see I've introduced some metal washers in between the folds, and that's what gives me the circles. And the other little marks of red that you see, that's probably a clothespin. And here's a flag fold. I'm sure you all know what a flag fold is, the way we fold the American flag. Well, that's all you do with these small pieces of fabric. And I obviously use some metal washers in this slide because the flag fold's there, but you can see all of the metal washers that I used. Okay, so when I begin, I probably 99% of the time begin with white fabric, solid white. I like to use silk, but I also use quite a bit of linen and sometimes cotton. I've even gotten into a little bit of paper from time to time. So here you see me in my old studio, and I've got a piece of silk stretched out onto the table, and there's plastic underneath the silk. And I've taken my dyes, I have them in little containers, and I take a teaspoon, and it's wet, the fabric is wet. So then I take a teaspoon of the dye and I just go down the fabric like that. Then I take another color and I do the same thing. And I let the colors blend and become other colors. So it's really kind of exciting to see what's going to happen. And the plastic underneath will influence where the dye falls. There's little ripples in the plastic, so it encourages the dye to go this way or that way. So it's really fun to do. And this is actually what came out of what you saw. This, it looks really dark. And all the dyes on all the fabric looks really dark when the fabric's wet. But by the time you do all the washout, it lightens up a lot. So that's the garment that I made from the fabric on the table. Okay, here are some more. Well, first of all, we'll go back to the one that we started with. The sleeve, let's go to this one. The sleeve, the way I did that is I put painter's tape on the silk, piece of silk. And I did that in rows. And then I came in with a brush. The fabric is dry now. So I came in with a brush that had dye on it, and I painted my colors between the rows of painter's tape. And that's how that came about. On the other, the underneath part, you can see a bit of it down there. That was kind of the same technique I talked about before, where it's wet and you let the dye run in a strip. And the chiffon part was the fold technique. Just keep folding it and planting it. Oh, this next one, love this. This is so much fun. Okay, I had silk crepe, and I dyed it 2 different types of yellow. And it was the scrunch into a container. So it came out, you can see the different values of yellow, if you will. And then I put it out on the table, and I took a squeegee bottle, and I filled it with dye, a little bit thickened dye. And I just had fun, dot. So it was really fun, and then I made the blouse. The blouse is made from 2 squares, that's all. A large square and a small square. And when you put them together the right way, it becomes a blouse that hangs on the bodice, which is really, really attractive on everybody. Okay. This is silk organza, jacket of silk organza. And you can see where I had resisted the fabric with these big, actually it was a coaster I used, a drink coaster. So I slipped that in between the folds and clamped it really hard. And up on the top, on the shoulder, that's where I picked up a piece and folded it and made kind of like a little square, and then wrapped it a bit with string, so it gives you a square shape. And of course the string resists the dye. This was a little divergence here on my part. Everybody knows what Tyvek is, right? It's what they wrap the house with, insulation. Well, Amazon sells it in 3-yard lengths, and it's much, much softer than what you see around the house. But it's the same basic material. This one has even a little bit of drape to it. So friends of mine had been using that for wall art. So I thought, well, I'll try it. So I bought a pattern for a raincoat, and I cut out the pattern with the Tyvek. So I had all these pattern pieces, and I mixed my dye with something called art paste, and that made it a little thicker. So I took all my little pieces, and I just played with the color. Some of it's fingerprinting, some of it's brush, some of it's a scraper. And I just played with the 2 colors, a couple of different yellows and a bit of orange and some black. And it was really fun. And it's a raincoat, it's waterproof, so. Okay, this is your flag fold. Again, it's just what you imagine when they're folding the American flag. And I've got a sample of that up here for you as well. And it's clamped really hard. You can see down at the bottom it changes. See how the pattern changes at the bottom? It's not the same as up top. That's because I clamped it differently. There's a detail of it. Now, this is a very labor-intensive way of doing shibori and dyeing. It's all hand-stitched. You do a running stitch, you do rows and rows of the running stitch, just in a little spot on the fabric. And then you pull them up tight so the fabric is really scrunched hard, and you tie them off. And you do that in various places all over the scarf. And then you bunch it all up together, and you introduce it to the dye. You do a dye bath. And so wherever the string, wherever the thread actually was, it remains the white, and you get this other pretty color everywhere that the dye could reach. And so you can imagine all the hand stitching that it took to do just this one little scarf. But it really is pretty. Okay, now here's an example of the pole wrap. The pole that I held up and the fabric's wrapped around it. What was fun about this one was I only used one color. I introduced it to one dye bath, one color. It was some sort of red, I can't remember the name of it. But it was really surprising and pleasing to find out that there was a lot of green in that red. Red is a dye that really grabs the fabric quickly. And you can see the result there. It's just wonderful. Okay, again, I took a little different pathways in dyeing. I had a scarf that I really liked. I had hand dyed it, and I really liked one end of it, didn't like the other end. So I took a picture of it, the part I liked, and I took that picture into my computer, and I played with it with Photoshop software, and I could change the image with the software. So the top part, the t-shirt part, was what I ended up with, and I sent that photo to a company called Spoonflower, and they print your images on the fabric. And there's quite a selection of fabric available too. This is a silk jersey. So they printed that for me, and then on their software, I took the same image and I chose a brick pattern. You know, bricks can be laid in a whole lot of different ways. So I chose one of those, and then I simply kept hitting this button, and it made the image smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So the skirt came from the same image that you see on the top. I found that just amazing. Just amazing. Yeah, and you can, no, I didn't bring that. You'll see that. Oh, by the way, yeah. February 4th is our opening for our exhibit. And this one will be up there for you to take a look at. It's in the living room, just next door to the living room, that classroom. So be sure to put that on your calendars too. February 4th, 3 to 6. Okay, so next, here's a close-up lab. Okay, and this is some wall art that I did. Doing garments, you always have little bits left over. So I had all this wonderful silk that was just lying in a box. And I decided I had to do something with it. So I created these kind of little pillows with, you know, the stuffing that you stuff animals with. And then I simply took my pieces of silk and plaid and wrapped them and tied them. And I had my bundles. So, and those will be at the exhibit as well. But they are really fun to make. A lot of different techniques in there. And here is my little step into paper. This was an image, again, it was something I had hand painted with dye. And again, I took it into Photoshop and played with it, not much, just a little bit. And then I printed it onto cardstock with my own computer. And then I used the cardstock and cut it to make the envelopes. And they're really kind of 3D. There's lots of room to put something inside the envelope. Okay, now this is an award-winning garment for me. It was in a big runway show, and it got Best of Show. It's made from 1/4-inch bias strips. Those are all 1/4-inch bias strips.
Can't imagine.
Now, I didn't make the bias strips. That would have taken a lifetime, I think. But I put them together using a double-backed adhesive that's used for fabric. It's sticky, but it's got paper on both sides, and it's 1/4 inch. So you rip off one side of the paper, and you stick it to your 1/4-inch bias, and you iron it, so now it's really stuck to the bias strip. Now you rip off the other paper and you iron it to whatever form you're using. In this case, it was a bra. I used a bra to begin with. And you just keep doing that, and along the waist, I just let them fall. I didn't attach them to anything. And there's a skirt of netting, black netting underneath it all. And the little thing you see hanging from the waist downward, I call that a modesty badge. And there's one in the back too. Detail.
Did you dye the bias strips?
No. There's a little story about those bias strips. My husband loves to go to estate sales, and he went to one where it was a young woman who sewed for, I don't know, Houston Elite, and she used to do a lot of sundresses. So she had all this bias. She had big, huge rolls of quarter-inch bias, and so he bid on it, he got it. So I had it, and I had a number of different colors in this too. So I had to do something with it. Now this too, the one you're seeing now, was also an award-winning garment for me. In fact, I got it into one of our national magazines, Fiber Heart Now magazine, which just blew me away. But there's a story behind this too. Cindy told me a story about an exhibit that she was looking at when she was somewhere in Europe. And the exhibit was about a tribe of people who, when their men went off to war, the women would put words inside their armor. And these were to be words that would bring them home. So inside, see, these are little pockets that I made out of linen that I had dyed. And inside are ribbons that have the words from the armor of God. I think it's Ephesians 6:10-18. They talk about putting on the armor of God, faithfulness, truth, spirit. Can't remember them all. But I put those onto the ribbon and stuck them into the pockets. The pockets are all held together with waxed linen thread, just knotted. And the top, it also, the waist is a fringe of the waxed linen thread. And the mask, I brought the mask for you to see today. This will be at the February 4th exhibit in the ACC. But I brought the mask so you could see it. There's a lot of the waxed linen thread there for the mouth and the nose and the eyebrows. But it was fun to make. Okay, any questions? That's me.
I'm going to just take a brief question for clarity, and then Cindy will talk, and then everybody can come on up and look, and then Doyle Hickok has a special demonstration for all of us.
Good, okay.
So you survived it, and it's working.
Yeah, it's working fine. Yeah, she had a question.
Oh, do you have a question?
Yeah. Well, I have a second bedroom. She asked if I have a studio here.
Studio, a small studio.
Well, it is my second bedroom, but yes, it's my studio. Yeah, it's my studio and it's crammed.
Are you able to use those dyes here?
Oh, yes,
Yeah, no
sure.
problem.
Oh, no.
Could you repeat the
No,
questions?
none at all.
After you've dyed the material, do you do the sewing, the stitching, and making the, like the not lovely finish around your neck and so forth?
I do.
So you're a seamstress as well?
Yes, yes, I do all the making of the garment. Sometimes it's the designing of the garment as well as the making of the garment. Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to introduce Cindy. Cindy is a longtime friend. We've known one another now probably close to 30 years. And we've exhibited our art together numerous times. And her art just amazes me, it always has. It's just, my medium is fabric. Hers is thread. just threat, and she does amazing things, just amazing. I got my little cheat sheet. She has her work in, I'm sorry?
May we have the microphone up?
We can't hear.
Oh, you can't hear? Can I talk louder?
Yeah.
Does that help? Okay. She has her work in museums all around. She has them in France, Hungary. These are in permanent collections in these museums. She has them here in Texas. Let's see if I can remember them all. Texas, Wisconsin. But the big one that impresses me the most is the Museum of Fine Art in New York. One of her places has a permanent collection there. So let me introduce you to Cindy. Extraordinary.
Lily, thank you. We moved, Doyle and I moved here about, is it coming on?
No, it's fine.
Is it on? Okay, all right. And we moved here about a year and a half ago, and I kept thinking how nice it would be if Linda would be moving here too, because we exhibited our work in the same places at a number of times. We had a show in Dallas not too long ago, and it would be nice to have someone to share our exhibitions with. So this has worked out wonderfully, and I thank you all for being here. Wow, this is really incredible. So my talk today is about my own personal journey. I don't have fancy words to talk about how I dyed material or anything. When you look at my work, you're seeing what's in my head, and that's just sort of scary, I know. And I don't know from one day to the next what I might be working on or might be wanting to do, because it's whatever comes into my head. I have a statement on my wall that I see every day, and it says, "Art is created not for the viewer, but for the creator." And that's me. I create art because I want to do it, because I get an idea in my head, I can't get rid of it until I've worked on it a little bit. Some of those ideas are not so good. Some of them are great fun. And but I've had a great time doing it. And I had a wonderful mentor while I was going through college and after, and she kept reminding me that work that I would enjoy doing is going to be enjoyed by others, and pieces I worry along are going to look worried to everybody else. And there's a lot of truth in that. I have thrown away a few garments, but I enjoy sewing other things better than garments. And so I am at my sewing machine a lot. That's where I do all of my creative things are done at the sewing machine. But the ideas come, who knows when. It's a lot of times in the middle of the night. And I do keep a journal. I do write down ideas when I get an idea, when I get one that I think is really worthwhile. A lot of ideas come and go so fast I don't have time to get them written down. So it's sort of a haphazard thing. I especially enjoy looking at things that are new, that are creative, that someone else has created, and then taking that maybe a little bit further. And so I've always been interested in something that's new, whether it's a new material or a new technique or a new idea. I love going with that, and I played with that a lot. So if I see an idea that I think is really something I want to remember, if I write it down, it does me some good. If I don't, it's gone. I do have a lot of ideas that hit in the middle of the night, and I'm too lazy to write them down, and so those are gone. But my mind is working constantly, looking for new ideas, and that's great fun. In 1982, I think it was, Joel and I had an opportunity to move to England, and that gave me a whole new opportunity to look with fresh eyes at everything that was going on. They were doing all kinds of things there that I had never seen here, and so it was I mean, it was just a truly eye-opening experience for me. And I think one of the greatest things was learning about water-soluble material. Well, I'll see where we go from here. In 1982, I think it was, we had moved to England and for just a few years, and I had a chance to see work that was being done there that was terrible, extremely different from what I was seeing here. That was great fun. And Goldsmiths College in London is really where the creative work comes out of England. It's really fun to see what they do. And I had a friend that moved there about the same time who was interested in the same things I was, so we just got on the ball and we went out to visit all these places that we'd never heard of before we got there, and it was great fun. We went to Goldsmiths College, and that is sort of the center for creative anything in England. And they were very welcoming and showed us around, and it was at the end of the term, so we got to see what all these students had been doing all year long, or all term long, either one. And it was great fun. The one that made a great impression on me was this young man who had a dog lying over here in the corner, and the dog was his model, and he made a dog that was the size of this wall over here. I mean, that he had it up against the wall. It was the most hideous dog made out of orange material that you could ever imagine, but he was so proud of that. But it was so much fun to see it, and I said, okay, now what happens to this dog now that you're done with it? And well, then they explain all about materials that disappear, and so that this poor old dog, after he worked so hard on this thing, was about to disappear too. Anyway, that was my introduction to fabrics that disappear. And I have taken that concept and run with it since, and have had a great time. There are different ways of making fabrics disappear. There's one kind of fabric that you can burn away. There's another one that you can, burn away, and all of a sudden my mind went blank. Anyway, various ways to get rid of all these materials. And so I had a great time with that. I have worked with disappearing fabrics ever since. And it's great fun to work with a fabric that you know is not going to be there forever, but you can do something with it and let it disappear or let it stay there, whichever's going to work out better for you. So it was in a whole new world for me, and I was able to take that and come back and then do new things with it. At the same time that I was over there, I was seeing wonderful church art, and I got very involved in seeing what was happening in churches. Oh, they do wonderful things there, and it's worth it to just go from church to church to see what's new there. And so I was really inspired, and so I came back to our church here. They were very kind to let me do what I wanted to do. So I ended up creating a lot of church art for the Methodist Church down on Memorial Drive. And so I don't put my name on anything or anything like that. I just want to tell you that when you look at it, I hope you can feel the joy that I felt when I created it, because there's so much joy in doing a project that you like, that you enjoy working with. And so that was really what I was doing. Around this same time, there was a contest that was put out by all of a sudden with a magazine. What?
Women's Day.
Women's Day magazine. Terrible how all of a sudden this disappears. Okay, for my mind. Women's Day magazine came out with a contest, and it was make a garment out of materials that are by the yard materials. None of this by a piece of fabric. You buy the yard, whatever. And so I got interested in doing that because the prize was a pair of scissors, and I was desperately in need of a pair of scissors. And so I entered that one and made a garment, and it was by the yard materials. It's up here on the corner, and you're welcome to come up and have a look at it. And I just had a great time with it. It's been in several books now and magazines. And, excuse me, but anyway, I did enter that shirt, or a tunic.
Click
And-
your slide,
What?
click your slide.
Oh, sorry.
Did you win the scissors?
Yes. Oh, am I not looking? What? Sorry about that. Now what? Oh, sorry. Okay, so there was my garment that was by the trimmings, fabrics, and because of that, yes, I want a pair of scissors.
Well deserved.
It was a great way to have a pair of scissors. Okay. What?
First prize.
Oh, the first prize was $1,000.
Click it, click it.
I was able to buy my own scissors. What?
You won more than first prize, click it.
Oh, that's right, I forgot where I am. Here.
Yeah, just that one.
Okay,
Just hold your hand on that, that button right there.
thank you.
$1,000.
Yes, yes,
Go back.
yes. So that was the beginning of a whole new way of
Wait, too
working.
fast, go back, they wanna look. Yes.
All right, so there's my piece that was in the magazine, and I have the magazine here, so as well as the garment, so you can have a look at it.
It's in here. And they let you keep the garment.
Yes, yes, that was very nice. I got a telegram one day saying, please, that it was being considered for a prize, would I mail it in? So I did that. And then very soon after that, I got another telegram saying that I'd gotten the award. And yes, and so I got the $1,000 and still have the shirt. Not too bad.
No, I don't think she got the scissors. She bought the scissors.
Okay, now where am I? So, that was the beginning of really a more playful sewing and playing when I went along. I have a thing that's on the wall of my studio, and it said that art is created not for the viewer, but for the creator. And that has been me ever since then. I am inspired by what goes on in my head, and that's where my ideas come from. And sometimes I have trouble sleeping, and other times when I sleep a good night, I wake up and I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself the next day, because that's when the best ideas hit. Let me see, the most important thing to me all along has been the ability to play and to have time to do what you want to do all on your own with no one telling you what you have to do or no deadline. That's been the most creative tool I think that there is out there. And so I really enjoy reading magazines, walking. I keep a journal when a good idea comes. But I don't have any big deadlines right now, which has been wonderful. So, what do I need?
How do you do it? This is your technique.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Forgot where I am. Yes. So my technique is working at the sewing machine. I lower the feed dogs, and I put in the thread, of course, and then I stitch. And I have a hoop, which you see here. I put my fabric, which is a new kind of fabric that was new to me, is dissolvable fabric. I put that in a hoop, and then I just start to stitch. Sometimes usually I draw a design on the fabric, and then I start to stitch, and as it shows here. And eventually, you see I have it here, then eventually I dip that material in water because it's dissolvable, and the piece of fabric then disappears and it leaves my stitching. So what you see of my work here, like the car I want you to come up and have a look at them. You're welcome to handle them. Those pieces are all done with dissolvable fabric, where I do the stitching on the material. And the challenge is to make an item and figure out how to make a three-dimensional item. Is it gonna hold together? Is it gonna fall apart? And that's my challenge.
Can you go back one slide? Because,
Is that it?
no,
The one showing the drawing, so it'll be on this side.
yeah.
There it is.
Okay.
So you drew that.
Okay, I draw, yeah, thank you, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead, yeah.
Just-
When I put my fabric, my dissolvable fabric, it's gonna dissolve, I put that in a hoop, and then I draw directly onto that material, and then I stitch. I keep about 150 bobbins wound and ready to go, because I don't wanna break my rhythm and have to stop and wind a bobbin. So my biggest investment has been bobbins. And, plus an occasional spool of thread. My studio, the next one. My studio is here, and Doyle's been very generous with me, giving me this amount of space in each of the houses we've lived in lately, so that I can sit in there at my sewing machine, have all the colors beside me, and so when the creative urge hits, right there I am, right there. Everything is ready to go, and with all these bobbins that I have ready to go.
Oh, this is free.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
And then another wall in my studio shows some of the awards that I've gotten, which have been sort of exciting, and pictures from various publications. My work has been in quite a few publications and in quite a few museums, and so it's sort of fun to keep a record of those on my wall. And so we look at those. This big one right here, I don't even know how you pronounce it with all the black and white. That was the first international show I was ever in. It was a show in Hungary. And, but I've been in a lot of international shows since then. It's great fun. And once in a while I get to go see them. I get my ideas from everything around me, of course, and I have a great time with, it has to have humor in it for me. This piece that we're looking at now is one day when I watched on television as people were bringing their plants into the flower show, the Chelsea flower show. And they all had plants that were so big they couldn't see around them. I do work also just on a volunteer basis for Memorial Drive Methodist Church, and they're so kind to me. A lot of these are 30 years old, and they still use them, and that may come to an end pretty soon because I make them all out of silk, and silk is not a long-lasting fabric. Here's another one that I did for that church. And there's another person in here, if you look hard, you'll recognize her. She's here today. Margaret, where are you?
She's over here.
Yes, I do this, the green one is another alder cloth that I've made. But I enjoy doing work that has a little bit of religious background to it, and I have found that the word art is a great one to use in pieces. So sometimes when I sit in church, I thumb through the hymnals, and if I find the word art, I'm inspired and get busy. So, how great thou art, of course, is one of them. And I've done pieces for weddings, And I've had a good time with that one. Another one that I've done that I've had a great time with is her clothes is fine linen and purple. You know, that's a Bible verse that is well known, and I've always loved that one. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. That piece, I don't know what year I did it. Anyway, it went into a show that was an international show. And one day I got a call from the Met and wanting to know if they could have that piece. And at first I said no. Because I thought if you donate a piece, it ends up on their floor. But then they called, and so I said it was gonna travel for a while, and they called 2 years later and said they still wanted it, and I said it's yours. So this piece is, I call it my Met piece. Then I get a lot of things of inspiration from pieces that are nice things to say. Put it that way. So this one is a pretty apron and a string of pearls are all a person needs. I almost had that today. I gave this one to my daughter-in-law, and she was going to send it for this exhibition, and then I thought, no, we've had trouble with the mail. I don't want to take a chance on this. It's her piece. It's not mine. And
Tell them where most of your figures come from famous artists.
what?
Most of your figures are famous artists.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so when I use a lot of pieces that, the figures that I put in a lot of pieces are takeoffs from famous paintings, and, but I change them. I don't copy anything verbatim, but yes, they do come from there. And so this one, and I hated aprons when I grew up. My mother made me wear an apron every time I had a new dress. And so I've always had a thing about aprons that I've never really liked. But, so that's what's behind that one. One time we had a neighborhood trip down to the cemetery, and I enjoyed doing that one. I came home and made a few notes. And so then I started my cemetery series.
She stayed at home and
And I like to get off on a kick, you know, and once I get an idea, I have to do another one and then. So, Blessed Excess is another one that I could do after a holiday one time. And that one was so much fun. I went on and I did that diet. A lot of people give me ideas, folks. I keep both ears open if you come up with something that you'd like to see. I'd love to know about it. And then bags have always been a fun theme to use. You know, laundry bag, grocery bag, sleeping bag, the whole bit. And I have a piece here that I call Steeped in Art, and that one is not finished, the one I have here, but I wanted to bring it to show it to you anyway. When we lived in England, it was, if you visited the park, someone would come along, and if you sat in a deck chair in the park, someone would come along and collect, was it 50p or a pound from you? And that always sort of annoyed me, so there it is. And by our front door, here, everybody has something fun to look at by their front door, so I put the conversation piece, which has been out there. I borrowed it today to bring it to you. I love titles. I have so much fun coming up with titles. So Unruffled is what I put on this sewing machine. And the idea behind that piece is that I spend all this time at the sewing machine, but I don't have anything to wear. So that's my unruffled piece, yes.
Cindy, when you do these three-dimensional, do you do each piece a section of a piece?
Yes,
and
you know,
put 'em-
it's like sewing a dress. Have you
Okay.
ever made a dress without a pattern? And you're trying to figure out how much you have to put around here and around here?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. There's a lot of trial and error.
Okay,
And so I do a small piece at a time, and if that piece works fine, then I can keep going. But yeah, I have to make it up as I go along. That's part of the challenge. Tea bag, I've done a lot of tea bag series. And, we have a show coming up pretty soon, and I'm working on another tea bag for that piece. And then I started doing other pieces that were takeoffs on paintings, well-known paintings on food. And I have quite a few of those. So this one is the one here on the left. It's crackers in bed. And then I did a baked potato loaded. I think I had by the time I finished this series, I had 50 that I've done with different pieces that were takeoff on paintings that were food things.
Cindy, how big are these actual pieces?
How big are they? They're not,
I mean, are we
oh, I don't know, they're about this big and this big. Yeah, not terribly big. I don't have enough walls to do a whole lot bigger than that, so.
Where do you get the material?
The material, okay, the water soluble material is what I like to work on. And that used to be very difficult to find, and I would have to order it from England. Now you can get it from Amazon. And it's very inexpensive, so it's not dear. You can just cut into it, and if you don't like it, that's all right, just move on.
And how do you make it disappear?
It goes in water, and, Doyle's gonna
Wait till the
demonstrate.
end. Doyle is gonna show you.
Okay.
Yeah, stay tuned.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, I'm almost there anyway. I'm ready to show you anyway. And then again, I like this fresh fish. Oh no, that's the next one. This kind of snack. Really? You know, I was told this, well, I told you earlier that I was told, somebody said, you know, if you enjoy a piece as you work on it, other people will enjoy it too. I have found myself laughing out loud sometimes when I work on a piece, but I really do want it to be a piece that I'm gonna enjoy doing, not one that I feel I have to do it. I had a great time. This poor guy over there is from a famous painting that it's where somebody was stealing from it and had his hand in his pocket. But I've had a great time. He's not very happy about anything, and I use him a lot of times. Oh, I think this might be it.
No, keep
Oh, no,
going.
it isn't. All right, I guess. See the USA is a piece that I have right up here on the corner, and it's a Barbie car originally, and I've forgotten now why I wanted to do it in the first place, but I borrowed it from my granddaughter, so someday I have to give it back. She's very patient.
What kind of threads do you use?
I use just plain rayon threads. And the reason that I chose rayon is because they have a little bit of sheen to them, and I thought that would carry a little bit better than if I were to use a cotton thread. Also, a cotton thread tends to tangle, and the rayon thread doesn't so much. But I use any thread that comes along. Once in a while, people just leave me a box of thread, and that's wonderful. The Bibliothèque, this is a museum in the center of France, and I had a piece there one time that did really well, and the next thing I knew, they asked to keep it longer, so it was there for quite a while. But
That's the patients we were looking at.
yeah, oh yeah, that's right. And the piece right here is the one you're looking at, that you can come and have a look to get an idea of the size of it. This location of this piece was, if you know Paris at all, this is right there. You go down from where this thing was parked. You just go down the hill and cross the Thames, and you're at the museum. So it was in a great location. I just couldn't stand it. I had to get pictures of it there.
One more picture.
Let me see. I think that's it.
There's another one.
Oh no, it's not. Yeah, there.
That's you there.
What?
As you're there, then go to the next slide.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah.
That was an international open, and she got selected.
Yeah, that was, go ahead.
Before the show opened, a mayor went to review it, and he saw that, and he made that the theme of the show. So he put that on the bus stops, on these big, signs that rotate. He put that picture on everyone in France, in Paris, I believe.
Yeah.
And, then she took a vacation and went to see that, and took her sister along, and that's. Back up one slide.
Yeah.
Back up one slide.
Oh, back up?
Yeah, left arrow.
There, see,
Okay.
there's evidence that she's there.
And my French is no good, if that street is, what is it, Champs-Élysées or whatever it is, however you pronounce it, that's where that was taken. Oops, wrong one. I did this series called the Café des Musées because I started having fun of doing a lot of people, with people sitting at the table. I love to do things that have people in them. And so I got started doing a series of people sitting at the table. My idea is that all these people are coming, and these are figures that are all from paintings. And so I just figured they get tired of sitting there at that table all day, in and day out, so then they have to come down to the lunchroom and have me. So that's what that piece is about.
I've got to add something to that too.
Okay.
All of this stuff looks pretty small here, but it is. That one is 7 feet wide and 5 feet high. And it took her 6 months to make it. It's,
That one is
it's
in the
Racine,
mound.
Museum.
It's in.
The Rand Museum in Racine, Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's right, I've seen this now.
And how big is it again?
7 feet by 5.
7 by 5.
Sometimes I get a little crazy. And another piece, there was a show in Poland, and so this piece was in the show in Poland, and I got an award on that one. And another one that I've enjoyed doing a lot of is with this car that I did, and that belongs to my granddaughter. I have to give it back one of these days. But that's part of a series now that I call See America First. And so I've had a great time making billboards to go with that car. Sometimes I get started on something, I don't know when to quit. Does that look familiar? One time there was a show, it was, this woman in Paris did interesting shows. And she put out the theme for the next show, and it was gonna be still life. And I said to Doyle, what on earth am I gonna do for still life? And he said, well, you're looking at it. So we end on that one. I appreciate your sticking with me and enjoying it. I love the statement saying that art is created not for the viewer, but for the creator. And that is me. I have enjoyed creating. I've enjoyed showing them to you. I appreciate your being here. Thank you.
But we're not done yet. No, one more. Come on. Wait, one more slide. Wait. One more slide, Cindy.
What?
One more slide.
Oh, there's one more slide?
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Okay, now push it again. Push it again.
What?
Push it again.
Oh. There, yes. Do come up, and I hope you take a chance to look at these things. I did bring some water-soluble fabric along because so many people have never heard about water-soluble material. And so I have some out here, you can dip it in water and see what happens to it, and that's what will happen to it. And anyway, so come up and handle it. Nothing is that there that you can't handle. What? So come up and play with them, we'll get you that water side right That's the dissolvable, yeah. And you know what's big, back to that, they did an article about it. Because I asked them, what more, and they didn't like the article, so they said, well, you write the article. So I wrote the article, and I asked my friend, and I said, my name is Thompspon. It is my article. Yeah. No. Well, I can't see that. Oh, thank you. That's what keeps me going.
I go over there also, where, but I Yeah, but I'll tell you what, that's. All right, I gotta run back. Okay, thanks.
Soda ash helps with dye.
But when you're being,
Trying to do it right, get screwed up by the suppliers that we and I talked to Michael Hutton, they take what they get, you know, they don't really have a way to